Right.
And something's going to happen that they're obviously going to jump somewhere, or they're going to hit something, or there's going to be some reset in some way that they get juggled
A bit
into.
like the way the Sentry got deleted from Marvel canon
Yeah,
or
exactly.
something. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Exactly. They'll just
I was wondering, 'cause I couldn't tell if it was like an alternate universe or like if this was the 60s in Marvel, but they just never talked about it, you know?
no, it's an alternate universe.
Okay, I was hoping it'd be okay. Well, I'm sure they'll find a way to make it
But
work.
there was an interesting scene actually that I wish they kept in. I only saw it the other day. It was in No Way Home, and it was Tobey Maguire when he went back. It's like literally a scene from Spider-Man 2.
Right.
But he's looking at the newsstand, and it mentions Tony Stark, and it's not Robert Downey Jr., it's someone else.
Okay.
There's a few, and then it mentions Spider-Girl, Spider-Gwen, and a
Was
few
this in the
others.
movie? I don't remember this.
It wasn't in the movie. It's a delete scene.
Oh, gotcha, gotcha. Okay.
And I'm like, oh, that would have been actually really cool to have in. Now, it would have
Right.
been more messy, but it would have been like,
Yeah.
this stuff is actually causing ripples.
Hmm.
Like, it's weird because they've messed this up so badly in the movies that, like, they almost get there. Like,
What do you mean
when
the multiversal
the
stuff?
multiversal stuff.
Well, then it'd
Like,
be cool if you found out that all the obviously Loki kind of has the monopoly on it, but it'd be cool if all this multiversal messiness was caused by the Fantastic Four in the 60s and this movie puts a pin in it and resolves it,
see, I
like,
think
and
that, yeah, I think that's what's going to happen. Like, it's going to resolve itself fully when they go to Battle World.
Hmm.
Like, Sequel Wars, that's the plot of Sequel Wars, right?
Yeah.
But that's when it's going to resolve itself properly. And I do think this would be a big piece of that pie where they're like, okay, we need to get the setup, we have to do X, Y, and Z to get there. And I think this is what's going to happen. But like, it has to be.
Yeah.
There's no other way. Like, this movie doesn't make any sense otherwise. It's kind of like the way the X-Men are just hanging out with Monica Rambeau. It's like, that's a bit weird. You have
Well,
to.
there and that's another alternate universe, isn't it?
But
Like,
that's what I'm saying. Like, they have to find a way to kind of square their circle, and they did it
yeah.
with Deadpool and Wolverine, which
Hmm.
the whole point of that movie was to square that circle, and they
Yeah.
did. Um, so we will just have to kind of wait and see. But a lot of people are like interested with this. I think the look of it's pretty cool.
It's
The cat,
definitely the first movie that has taken WandaVision's creative success and sort of translated that in. Like, yeah.
yeah, it's the first kind of movie since Deadpool and Wolverine that looks like some effort was put in. They're not just been like, oh, look, it's fine. They're like,
Well,
no,
let's not get too ahead of ourselves. Like, no Marvel movie has come out since Wolverine and Deadpool, and Captain America's only dropping this week. Like,
no. What I'm saying is like a lot of the movies were just very paid by the numbers.
oh, I
Cap
see. Okay,
Captain
okay.
Marvel 2, which I didn't, or the Marvels, which I didn't hate. Actually, I liked a lot more than I was expecting to like.
I really liked that one.
I
Yeah,
liked it too. I didn't really get the hate for it, but it looked very boring. It looked very, very drab. The Eternals, even though I liked the Eternals, was still very drab.
mm,
They're kind of been like, well, look, we're a comic book. We can we can shoot this differently. It doesn't have to be the same
yeah.
way. And I think that's really cool. So the actual look of it,
Oh, you're talking
the
purely visually.
no, I mean in general, like the look of
Okay,
it, the aesthetic, the setting,
right.
the actually playing with the factor in a comic book movie is
Mm,
something that we haven't really seen, as you said correctly, since WandaVision, where they're jumping through different time and it looks
mm.
like it's from here or feels like it's from here. And it's a really kind of cool left turn because like what I would have hated, and not hated, but what I would have really disliked, one because we've seen it, and two because it doesn't work, is Fan Four Stick again, where it's based in a modern time
Mm.
and it's very boring and it's very dry and it's very serious. Or even the earlier 2000 movies, which, were of its time, but just wouldn't work in a modern time.
Yeah,
So I think they're like, right, look, we know this is going to be difficult to do. They're in the 60s.
yeah.
Let's just go with it.
I mean, look, a lot of
It's
people have
really good.
said, and I take no credit for this comparison, but a lot of people have said that The Incredibles is the best Fantastic Four movie
Oh yeah, easy,
because it puts the family
easy.
stuff first, and the superhero stuff is just sort of a means to an end. Like,
Yeah, like we even saw that with The Incredibles 2, which was very poor in
I
comparison.
actually quite like Incredibles too.
I don't hate it either, but it was very poor in comparison. Like
I
the first
that,
one is the first
that
one is
doesn't
so
bother
solid. Hmm?
me. Like my daughter watched the two at once and she thought they were both equally good. So, you know.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair. But I mean, from a storytelling perspective, like why that movie kind of wasn't as good as the first one for a lot of people is because it moved away from that family first approach,
Okay.
you know? Um, but another thing that comes out of this is, well, Doctor Doom. Actually, there's two things that come out of this. One, Doctor Doom,
Hmm.
right? He's gonna have to show up at some point.
Well, I mean, Avengers movie, presumably.
Well, no, I mean they have to set him up. They only have three movies to get there. Four
Yeah,
maybe.
but I'm talking purely like I would have loved if they had introduced him either in a Black Panther movie or a Doctor Strange movie, because
Yeah,
in both of those cases he would have been kind of a chaotic neutral.
yeah,
But I suspect it's going to be more in the realm of post-credit things and that
it
kind of
is. Yeah.
stuff.
So that I
Yeah.
can I would say that's probably a safe bet. We'll either get post credit at the end of Captain America, or we'll get it during the Thunderbolts. But there will
I
be some.
wouldn't I wouldn't say Thunderbolts unless they allude to something going on in Latveria because they're all a bit Black Ops.
Yeah, I don't know. Look,
I
here, I don't think it will be connected to the movie. That's the thing. I think it will be they'll set it up outside of Fantastic Four, but he will
Yeah,
be mentioned.
because both the Captain America and the Thunderbolts are both sort of vaguely dealing with sort of international, maybe less Thunderbolts 'cause that looks goofy, but certainly the Captain America is sort of dealing in international espionage and stuff.
Yes.
So I suspect you'll probably get a Latveria reference thrown in there or something like that, you know?
Yeah, you probably will. But another thing that some people are talking about, and I just want to kind of quash now.
Mm.
Everyone's like, "Why is Galactus so small?" It's like he can shrink. It just shows you they didn't. No one read the comics.
Yeah. Can
He
I
can.
actually, before we get into Galactus, because my brother is in the States and he saw the trailer before I did. So he basically was wondering why go straight to Galactus, and he sort of pointed out, oh right, Doctor Doom has to be saved up, and then he ran down a list of all the sort of rogues gallery for Fantastic Four that has already been used.
Yeah.
So Ronan Accuser and the Kree in general, the
Yep.
Skrulls in general, Kang,
Yep.
Ego, Adam
Yep.
Warlock, and all them. Black Panther in general, Namor in general,
Yep.
and Agatha and all them. So, like, apart from the likes of Mole Man and Diablo, like even Mephisto would be saved for like a Ghost Rider movie, like or
Yeah.
Dragon or something. There's not many left
Yeah.
who are pure
They,
Fantastic Four baddies, you know?
yeah. They haven't really like. They haven't really
Not
said.
that their road gallery is stellar. It includes Paste Pot Pete, but you know what I mean? Like, you
No, I know
know.
what you mean. Like it's one of the things where you're like, oh, you only have so many bullets in that gun, you know. It's it's you've used the best stuff already, so you kind of have to go with Galactus. Now, I'm not really too annoyed about that. I mean, it depends how they do it. Like Galactus
Yeah.
showing up, he was a cloud last time, and that was very silly. So at least he's not a cloud this time, which is good. Um, but I do think if they use it well. And I would look. What's probably going to happen is that world's going to be destroyed, and they'll
I
just.
was gonna say
And I think that's what's going to
it
happen.
would be a good get out of jail free if they had to hop into the MCU. Plus, we still haven't had the resolution of that cliffhanger from the Eternals, so just be
Or we still haven't had the resolution from Doctor Strange 2 where he's jumping in to stop incursions.
yeah, but that's you can imagine that happening in the background.
Yeah, but
This
here, what if one of the incursions is the Fantastic Four jumping into the MCU?
it's possible. I mean, they are in the unfortunately named Illuminati together.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think I don't know when I at the end of the Eternals when a big red man in the sky said we are judging humanity and then zipped off. I kind of thought, oh, that sounds urgent.
Well,
Could
a-
we
at
could we
least
follow that up, please?
at least in Captain America 4, they are going to talk about the Titan that just happens to be in the sea.
Okay, that didn't bother me as much personally
No, I
because
know, but
like
it's the first
weird
time they
stuff
actually.
happens all over the place in our world, but it'd be nice to get some follow up, you know.
Yeah, I know, but no one has mentioned it once. Like, it's like you
Yeah.
think of something like when an earthquake or something happens in a far off part of the world, people are
Mm.
like, that earthquake was pretty crazy, wasn't it? Even here in Ireland, when that storm happened, I was in Germany and people were talking about it. Can you imagine